welcome to a brand new episode of the After Movie Diner. James, or Jim, or Jimsy, or... Jimballs McCree.
Yeah, Jimballs McCree.
Jimballs McCree is back in the diner with me this week, and the diner in question is Uncle Sam's Burgers, which is on 5th Avenue.
Yeah.
It's Asian style, Asian infused whatever burgers, I don't know, but it's bloody good.
Well, we're getting Peking chicken, right?
We're getting
Beijing chicken.
Beijing chicken. And it's basically crispy chicken burger with hoisin and whatever, just like crispy duck, but with chicken.
Very nice.
But with breadcrumbs.
Right.
Uncle Sam's, and we've come here again, another lunchtime, because poor Jimballs was ill.
Was I ill?
You were ill. You told me you were ill. Maybe you were just lying because you didn't want to do it.
Wait, no, I've got to get my story straight. What was I doing that was more interesting than hanging out with you that I pretended to be ill for?
Don't know, anyway.
No, when was it? It was last week, right?
Clearly pretending to be ill, apparently.
His feelings really are hurt. No, when was it? It was Thursday last week, right?
Yeah. You said you felt rough and you didn't want to do it.
Oh, no, I did feel rough.
This is the end of the podcast.
No, I did. No, I wasn't feeling good.
Whatever. I don't believe it. Sounds like a tall tale to me. A tissue and a web of lies.
It is, yeah. No, I was feeling pretty rough.
Sure, whatever. But it does mean that he now has to suffer the dignity of not one but two podcasts this week. So.
Oh yeah, because we're doing one tomorrow night.
Right? Yeah, we're doing one tonight.
And we're doing another Spader one tomorrow.
We are.
The final Spader?
The final Spader tomorrow. We'll do 4 Spaders. I think 4 Spaders.
Well, what should our final Spader be?
That's a good season.
What
I don't know.
We talked about Supernova way back when anyway, so what's left?
Well,
what else is there?
We've got loads, but
Okay.
we've got the what was it? The Hunter.
Alien Hunter.
No, I don't want to do another sci-fi Spader. I want to do the one with Keanu Reeves at the end.
Oh,
The Watcher.
The Watcher. Yeah.
There's
Okay.
The Watcher. There's that one where he plays a bank robber who gets. It's a bit like the Parker payback story, but like he's a bank robber who's like done over and has to like revenge.
That sounds pretty good.
Revenge himself.
I do like when they revenge themselves.
Yeah.
What's that one called?
I don't know, like Strikes Back or Strikes something or Stick Up. The Stick Up.
Okay.
The Stick Up.
All right. Yeah, let's do the Stick Up.
Nothing to do with
Let's do the
Strikes
Stick Up.
at all. Well, whatever. We can make a decision tomorrow night.
Fine.
But,
Okay. Fine.
so we're here in Uncle Sam's and we're discussing the quite frankly bizarre Supernova.
Yeah.
We both watched this the other night. We've got tons of questions.
Oh, we do?
So,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
so let's talk about the movie for about half hour and then let's finish the show by lots of questions, right?
Yeah. Should we do it? Well, why don't we do it? Should people watch this film or not?
I think they should.
Really?
Yeah, because it's suitably bonkers, and it's a role unlike Spader's done.
Okay, I would agree that Spader's very good at it, but it isn't a very good film.
No, but it is a bonkers film.
Okay, yeah, all right, yes. If you want to watch a bonkers Spader sci-fi film, for sure.
If you want to watch a movie where the resounding thing that goes round in your head, not to quote the name of the podcast, but the resounding thing that goes round your head is how the fuck did this get made? Well, it's got a bloody weird cast, right? It's Spader, Angela Basset, Lou Diamond Phillips, Peter Facilin, whatever his name is, and fucking Robin Tunney.
And Robert Forster.
And Robert Forster for all of a second.
Yeah. It's very, well,
right.
Okay.
And it's okay. You do your bit.
All right. Well, okay. So, the first thing I think that needs to be said about this one is the director took his name off the picture. Let's start there.
Did he?
Yeah.
It didn't come up with it being a what's it?
Alan Smith. No, but they went with Thomas Lee.
That's still a fake name.
It's Walter Hill.
Walter Hill directed this?
Not only Walter Hill directed it, but it got taken away from him. And you know who re-edited the whole thing and tried to put it back together?
Who?
Francis Ford Coppola.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. You want
Seriously?
to know something else mad? You know the scene where James Spader and Angela Bassett having sex?
Yeah.
That's not James Spader and Angela Bassett.
No, of course not.
That is Robin Tunney and Blokey. It's an outtake, and they blackface Robin Tunney's skin to make her look like Angela Bassett.
Digitally, though.
Digitally, yeah. because it was all put together.
Did you
in
look
close.
this up on IMDb?
Yeah, because I was like, because what I couldn't figure out was on Amazon it said directed by Walter Hill,
right?
But then at the end of the movie it said directed by Thomas Lee. Well, what's going on there?
Yeah.
And then it all came together. I think that's important to bear in mind.
Bonkers.
Yeah.
No, that is, considering the end result, that is bonkers.
Right, because it doesn't seem very Walter Hill or very Francis Ford Coppola either, right?
No, what it feels like is the worst of all B movies that somehow got like a relatively A-listed cast. But I tell you what does make sense. The cast makes more sense as a Walter Hill joint.
Right.
If it's a blokey bloke joint, how does it get all that cast?
Was it?
You can see like one of them showing up, maybe.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Or, like, also, you completely can understand why Sleazy Spader Sleaze took the role based on the script, because the first 45 minutes is just bonkers.
Do you know what's weird about the whole film?
Well,
I mean, the weirdest thing for me about this whole movie is it's easily the sleaziest Spader film you've watched, but Spader isn't sleazy at all in it.
No.
No.
Well, he has the scene before him and Angela Bassett have sex, where he's like, like looking at her, like,
yeah, I mean, kind of
nostrils flaring.
There's only really one. We'll talk about what I feel is the only real sleaze moment in the whole movie from Spader, but it's a very sleazy film. Another like totally weird thing about the movie.
Yeah.
There's lots of inexplicable things about it, which is like. I'm fine. Right.
So,
brief plot.
Okay, brief plot is take every single stranded in space sci-fi cliche imaginable.
It was supposed to be Hellraiser in space. That's how it got sold. You know the ending? Or what happens at the end?
Yeah.
It was shot with a monster, like an actual monster. And then the studio went, yeah, we can't really see the actor. Can you reshoot everything without the monster but with the actor instead? So they did that. So it's supposed to be, just like Hellraiser, man discovers weird artifact, right? Weird artifact turns him into a crazy hell beast.
Right.
Crazy hell beast runs him up. That's what the film's supposed to be.
Right. But now, as it stands,
this
is all fucking weird. I had no idea about any of this.
Yeah.
So glad you're educating me. I didn't look this up or anything. I just watched it and went, Jesus. So, as it stands, there's really no full-blown explanation of who they are and what they're doing.
No.
Over the course of the movie, we find out there's some sort of interdimensional, intergalactic ambulance spaceship. Right. Which, considering the size of the spaceship, is massively understaffed. Yeah. There's like 5 people there, right?
I did think, like, what are they going to do if they turn up at a war zone?
Right.
Slow down, there's only one of me.
Right, exactly.
There's only one doctor.
Right. Well, no, because
there's one doctor and 2 technicians.
As they announce it throughout the thing, like, Lou Diamond Phillips was also like a medical assistant or something like that. Connie was a medical assistant. Yeah. The little Hispanic guy, he ran the computer that was like... Okay, so let's break this down very, very quick. I'll be as quick as I can. There's a scene in the beginning where Robert Forster is watching Tom and Jerry, right? And there's a bizarre voiceover from Robert Forster indicating that somehow in the future violent cartoons have been...
all violence
has been, like, in media, has been sort of banned and therefore replaced with, like, very mundane, subdued... That never comes up again and bears no bearing on anything else that happens throughout the rest of the movie. And is an utterly bizarre throwaway, like, well, we have to set this in some sort of dystopian future, so here we go. This will be the explanation. We got rid of Tom and Jerry and everyone shut up. You know,
no. I have a theory about... Because you don't understand, what's Walter Hill doing making this film?
Right.
And I think there's a connection between that scene with Robert Forster and Tom and Jerry, the fact that everybody in the movie looks the same. But they even get Spader to dye his hair. Everybody has the same colour hair. Yeah, and but they all have the same colour hair. Even the woman's got, both Basset and Tony have the same short... They all have the same haircut. They all look the same.
Right.
I think the movie is supposed to be... This is only a theory, right? I think it's supposed to be a counterpoint to a Star Trek vision of the future.
Right.
In other words, the idea is So here's humanity, and they're all bland, they're all wearing the bland grey suits, and they've all got the same haircut, they all look the same, there's no violence in media, you know, you've got what you want, here's the utopian ideal. And what do? Because of sex, right? Because of sex, which you can't get rid of, we're still going to eat each other alive. Even in deep space, even in this great future that you want to have, there's still going to be desire and lust and bonking and wanting power. And why does the guy, ultimately, the bad guy who gets hold of the artifact that turns him into a monster, only not really, why does he want that? Because he still wants to bonk Angela Bassett. It's all about bonking. The whole film.
Right. That's why Spader took it.
Right. It's supposed to be a film about how...
And when they do an interdimensional jump, even though they're in a pod that is meant to protect their skin from discombobulating or whatever it does, they all have to get naked. That's another thing. Nudity abounds in this movie. It's completely bizarre.
Mostly poor old Robin Tunney.
No, which is odd because she's not really done nudity before.
Well, they can't stop showing her boobs. Now, my guess is the Walter Hill went, listen, we'll probably only use one of those. And then Coppola came along and went, 7 scenes of boobs. We'll have to get those then, because I've been told to rescue this picture. So let's up the boob count. And that's why there's so many boobs.
Right. And then
upping the boob.
And then Angela Bassett, on the other hand, only gets a really unflattering shot of boobs at the very end when she bends over to get into the pod. And their sex scene, whether it was filmed or not, was almost entirely cut because, as you said, it was actually an outtake. So I'm not sure if Spader, I can't imagine Spader turning down the opportunity to film a Basset love scene.
But don't you find what's so weird about it is everybody in the film is bonking and being sleazy, except Spader. And then the reason that him and Basset, because again, after the film is over, Coppola goes, I want to strengthen their connection, so I'll insert the scene of them bonking, even though it's 2 other actors bonking. That never happened.
Weird. Well, it's also because, in a weird way, and this might be a studio thing as well, it's very rushed. If it was a 2-hour movie, or even an hour and 45 movie, they could slow it down just a little. But as it is, as I said, we start off, no explanation of who anyone really is or what they're doing there or why, right? But they're all in space. They're all in a spaceship. Spader is revealed to have had some drug issue in the past. Not that that's relevant at any point.
No, that's a weird one too.
But he's also the best pilot there is. Then we meet the little Hispanic guy, and the computer wakes him up in the middle of the night to play chess with him, right? And again, to add hoary cliche to hoary cliche, he's programmed the computer a little bit to have some possible human emotion, which really only comes to play once, and comes to play once in the most frustrating way, because he's remember those human emotions? I do not have human emotions. Remember the time that we played chess at 2 in the morning? We didn't play chess at 2 in the morning. Remember the time that we did the thing? It was so frustrating. I'm and then she mourns his death, and I'm so wait a minute, she can mourn his death, but she can't
Well, she could, but that was what was dumb. She could do it, but it was yes, I remember now. I feel human emotions. Give me the second voice command. And then he's already dead.
Yeah.
Why do you need the... If he's just spent the last 5 minutes while being beaten up by a demon, trying to remind you of your ability to think for yourself in order to save him, and you finally come to that realization, don't need a second voice command in order to come to the real... You don't need a second voice command to attain consciousness.
Right.
You know what I mean? No. So, but I feel that was all part of the whole bonking thing too, because him and the computer were clearly supposed to have some kind of weird sexual relation.
Right. So,
should we just run the plot quick?
What does one do?
Oh, right, sorry.
So, we all meet this ragtag bunch of crew who are all kind of medical people, but they're also all bonking. Or at least Robin Tunney and bizarrely Lou Diamond Phillips are having quite a raunchy bonk fest at the beginning. To which I'm I would never in a million years have ever expected to have said the sentence, Lou Diamond Phillips and Robin Tunney have a crazy bonk fest, but they do. And by the way, no titles on the movie. The movie just starts.
Yeah.
So I'm watching it and I'm wait, That's Lou Diamond Phillips.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
What is La Bamba doing in space?
Well, I think I know.
What?
Well, because he has to get younger later, so you have to hire somebody you can convincingly make younger later.
What? And Diamond P is your man for like.
Lou Diamond Phillips looks the same now as he did 30 years ago, so he's definitely the man to go to.
Yeah, but that's because he stuck his hand in the glowing pink orb thing.
Yeah, true.
So they get a distress signal from another dimension.
No, they don't.
Right? Yeah, they do.
Okay.
They get a distress because they have to dimension jump to get to the point where.
No, dimension jump is just far away in space. It's not another dimension.
It's another dimension.
No,
They say something about the ninth dimension.
No, that's just MacGuffin bollocks about the giant dildo / vagina.
All right. Well, whatever.
No, because going to another dimension, that would be interesting, but they just go to another bit of space. That's all.
All right. Well, it doesn't. It really doesn't matter. But anyway, they go to a different place because they get a distress signal. Now, the mad thing about this is that they get a distress signal from this Carl, something like that.
Yeah.
And Angela Bassett's like, oh, he's bad news. He's like the worst nightmare. Doesn't stop them, though. Doesn't explain why he was the worst nightmare. Doesn't explain anything about him. They all just go, oh, him. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Also, he's dead. At least, that's what we find out. And
But he's not, though.
No, of course, but the point is that when they find out he's dead, they go, oh, he's dead. Oh, it happened 2 years ago. Oh, that's interesting. So, given that this is some kind of military thing whereby we will have to go and rescue some guy if he's a high enough rank, and if whether we have to know he's a psycho or not, we still have to go, then presumably news of this chap's death might have, filtered down.
No, but that's the whole point. It's not a military thing. It's a direct distress call. It doesn't come. They say that repeatedly. It doesn't come down from
Right, I know, but the reason
the international wire.
No, I know, but they
directly.
only mention that later. The reason they go is because he's a high enough rank. Because all right, no, we're not going.
When was that explained?
Right, when they were talking about going, one of them, Forster or Spader, I think Forster,
right,
said, "I'm not going. It's too risky because the whole, the planet is disintegrating, etc. We're to go." Other than that initial, it's a real wobbly landing, nothing. And we're not going there unless there's a high enough rank is giving the order. And then this guy's name turns up and they go, oh, a high enough rank, we have to go. Even though he's a psycho.
Oh, I didn't get any of that.
Yeah, well, that happened. That definitely happened.
Okay,
That's why they go.
So anyway, they jet off to this other planet.
Right.
Inexplicably, as they're rushing to the dimension pods, Forster's like, oh, you take that one over there. And she's like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, take mine. He gets in another dimension pod, no explanation, comes out the other end all mangled.
Yeah,
did he see something and go, oh, it's a broken dimension pod, but I'm going to sacrifice my life?
Yeah. Did you miss that as well? That was explained.
When?
They said, oh, when they come out, they look at when they're trying to figure out what happened to Forster. They go, oh, there was something, broken in the MacGuffin pipes. The MacGuffin pipes were broken.
Right.
And they said, oh, he must have seen that.
Right.
And that's why he made you go in his pod.
I heard that bit.
He must have thought the risk was acceptable or whatever.
I heard that bit, but everything in this movie, it's all post the action. So the action happens, you go, huh? And then they vaguely explain it. Like you say, it's oh, we've got a whoopsie in the MacGuffin chamber, we might as well
Right, but that part I understand. Obviously you can have an argument where everyone goes, no, we have to, because also there's, we have to go now. There's no one of the pods is broken. Let's wait 10 minutes and fix it.
Right, or I don't know, call an engineer. We don't have an engineer. Oh.
Well, it's also Spader can be captain, basically, even though he's a druggy, he's moody. He's moody Captain Comeback. That's what he is. Right? He's the guy that everybody's supposed to mistrust. He's badly put together. Waterhill would probably have done it. I'd like to have seen his cut because supposedly it's totally different. And you'd have the monster at the end and the whole Spader, because Spader is really, really good at that. like he's playing a character like I haven't seen him play before. The moody guy with the dark past, but a solid, the guy you can rely on in the crisis thing. Pretty standard Walter Hill kind of character.
Right. But I do like to point out most of it, and it's hard, doesn't make a damn lick of sense. No. So they get to the place. There's also a whole bit at one point where they're like, they get to the place and Spader's like, oh, we've only got 17 hours and 12 minutes.
Right.
Because we've lost all this fuel and
That was so stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's like, but we'll all be fixed up by whom? No idea, no explanation. We'll all be fixed in 17 hours, so we'll have precisely 12 minutes in which...
No, that was a really dumb bit, because that would suggest, we're coming in close, right? How long until, the fucking galaxy explodes? 17 hours and 11 minutes. How long until the ship can make the repairs? 17 hours and 1 minute. You're like, 11 minutes. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, if it was like, we've got 24 hours and the thing's going to go supernova sometime.
Right.
But because that, again, it makes no difference. No one's waiting around going, we've only got 8 minutes left. Like, nobody cares about that.
Right.
So why bother making it this wild coincidence that they've got?
Because at the end, it's the one thing Spader knows that the bad guy doesn't. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah. Because at the end, the whole reason why the bad guy, blows up or whatever is because of that. And it's the one thing Spader knows that he doesn't. He's able to, eject him into space and then blow up with the moon or whatever he does.
But even if Spader didn't know that, he still would have ejected him into space.
Right, but he was like, I don't know.
I take your point, but he didn't use his knowledge to defeat the creature.
No, he does. It's set up at the end that because he knows this is going to happen, that this will ultimately defeat and destroy the creature.
So, yeah, right.
The creature who is an incredibly handsome young man who walks around naked quite a lot and bongs popping tummy.
Yeah, it was a really sleazy movie.
So
really sleazy.
Anyway, they pick up a guy.
They pick up a guy who is not as he seems. Right? Who has something with him that's a MacGuffin or...
No, it's not. It's Teresa... Okay, so I watched it with my wife. We can figure out if they look like a giant knob or a giant vagina. They look like both, right? It was like both. And that's what I mean. The whole thing was weird. Something really weird about it.
And Lou Diamond Phillips kept putting his hand in it.
Yeah, and getting younger.
Yeah.
Did you know? So, can I just quick, because let me just do the summary, right?
It doesn't matter, it's just a whole bunch of crazy cliches thrown together. It's nonsense.
Yeah, I know, but it gives people who are listening some kind of
whatever.
They get called by a distress signal. They go to the planet that's all exploding, and they pick up a guy. This guy, who it turns out is not this psycho ex-boyfriend of Angela Basset, but in fact his son. And he's brought with him, secretively, he didn't want to tell them about it at first, but Lou Diamond Phillips used his big scan mover and find this thing we're talking about, the giant cock snatch of destiny.
Yeah,
the alien cock snatch of destiny. And Spader says, no, as soon as we're ready to go, we're going to flush out of the airlock and flee, because I don't trust you, you're obviously dodgy. Another, quite cool, yeah, that's very sensible. Nobody's being an idiot about it, they're going to get rid of it and fly away, which is fine. However...
well, he's offered them a cut of the...
Yeah, he's offered them a cut of all the money they're going to make off something that he doesn't know what it is.
Right. Although he does know what it is.
Well, yeah, he does, right. Anyway, so it turns out that the giant cock snatch of destiny is, in fact, some kind of alien artifact that will...
It's a youngie...
It will...
it's a youngie strongy machine. It makes you younger and stronger.
Yeah, it will raise humanity to... Right.
But it's the Genesis machine as well.
Yeah, it's supposedly, it will either raise humanity to the next level or it will destroy it, right? And it's supposed to be left, according to Angela Basset, the cock snatch of destiny is left by an alien civilization to be discovered, brought home, and then it'll destroy everything.
Well, no, because it was a bit like the Genesis thing where they talk about the fact that they can both create life, but also if you put it where life and matter already exists.
That's right.
It would redesign the mate. And I'm like, so it's Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, exactly. It's a Wrath of Khan. So, then what happens is basically Hellraiser. In other words, the guy who brought the thing on board starts bumping everybody off who stands in his way of getting the giant cock snatcher of destiny back to Earth, right, and making his fortune. And also, as Ross pointed out, Lou Diamond Phillips has been fiddling around with the cock snatcher, and it appears to be turning younger and getting stronger, which is when Spader then says to the guy, he doesn't trust the guy, and so he goes down to the planet to find out, is this guy telling the truth? Also, dodgy guy says there's fuel down there, which he reasonably points out, look, if there's not fuel down there, I find out, what's going on, and we find out whether he's, dodgy or not, and if there is, great, we've got fuel and we can get out there early.
Right.
So it's all very sensible. However, he gets down there and is stranded by an evil guy who then proceeds to kill everybody else on the ship, except for Angela Bassett, who he then reveals to he is not in fact the son of he is not in fact the son of Angela Bassett's ex-boyfriend, but in a twist that you saw coming a mile away, as soon as the guy feels so younger, he's in fact this guy, but now younger. And the longer he goes on, the more like he gets a bit demonic, but not really. As we know, in the original film, he's supposed to turn into a monster, but he doesn't, he just stays the same guy. Spader comes back in ways that I can't figure out if it's explained or not, because the shuttle came back with that.
Oh yeah, no, when Spader went down to the planet, he sent off like a return pod beacon thing, trousers, and then that came back and picked him up from the planet.
That's right.
Like basically, in this movie, Spader is the only character who is one step ahead of everybody, right down to the fact that when he's meant to be coming out of the airlock and back onto the spaceship, he's put like a fake suit in the space pod so that when the door opens and the bad guy like fires a harpoon into him or whatever, he's like, ha ha, fooled you, I'm actually in this other revolving part of the pod, and here I come with a gun and whatever.
So anyway, he comes back, they have the big fight, Spader and the demon, then Spader throws him out the airlock.
He's just a younger human, he's not a demon.
No, but he's becoming demonic. Like his face gets all weird and bony, and his arms gets all weird and bony. He's not becoming younger. He's like, if you think about the original story, it's supposed to be he turns into a giant monster.
The original story.
I know, but I'm saying that's clearly what's supposed to be happening, because his knuckles get all weird and bony, his arms get all weird and bony, his face is all weird and bony, and he's super strong. Even though like he gets a harpoon through the chest, it doesn't seem to bother him. So I think we can assume he's becoming a bit demon.
Alright.
It doesn't really matter. Anyway, Spader flushes him out the airlock.
Right.
Yeah. So again, it's like Sunshine, it's like Event Horizon.
It's like every single space movie.
Yes.
All flim-flammed into
And the only thing about it that's any good,
shot in close-up,
the only thing about
see any big broad things
is,
at all.
wow, I wish they'd made a decent sci-fi film with Spader as the lead, like this kind of role. Because he was the lead in Stargate, a totally different movie, totally different role. And
he's done Alien.
Man, I wish Angela Bassett did more things, because she's great.
Angela Bassett's amazing in
But
everything.
the film itself it is nonsense from start to finish.
Right.
It's absolute pish and guffles. Pish and guffles.
It is fish and guffles.
And I can understand how Coppola was handed it and went, because there's things in it, but there's like stylistic choices, like the hair and the outfits, the fact that he keeps filming people being like partly obscured by the ship,
right?
Like by stanchions or they're trapped or hidden or whatever. No, because there's so much of like people talking behind, because actually like the ship itself is quite open, right? It's not as if it's like a kind of rickety thing. It's like big, like you say, big and modern and way too big for 6 people. But there's so many, you watch again, there's so many shots of them behind like metal stanchions or like supports or whatever, like being partly hidden by the ship or machines or whatever. There's something going on about people turning into machines or embracing their humanity. And presumably that's what the whole demonic thing was supposed to be. Like you embrace the cock snatch of destiny and it turns you into a like slobbering monster, right? Or you become a machine like the computer. Like there's something that Walter Hill was trying to talk about.
Well, there was something in the original script.
But they clearly took it away from him.
Right.
Because apparently Lou Diamond Phillips didn't want to do the movie. Oh, two interesting things for me. One, Lou Diamond Phillips didn't want to do the movie, turned it down like lots of times. And then Walter Hill got involved and rewrote the script and sent Lou Diamond Phillips the script, and he went, okay, I'll be a part. So whatever the rewritten script was, it was good enough. Not that I'm saying like, wow, Diamond Phillips, it's not Orson Welles, but I'm saying for a guy that keeps turning it down.
Right, he probably read the scene where he got to see Robert Tunney's bush, and he was like, fine, let's do that then.
Right, sure. Could be. So the other thing that
Walter Hill just wrote in the screen directions, it's Robin Tunney, and yes, we see nips.
Yeah.
And that's it, and that's what made Diamond Phillips sign on the dotted line.
Right, okay.
I'm almost certain of it.
Right, gotcha. So you're saying it's not that the quality of the script was good,
No.
it's that Walter Hill added boobs.
Yeah.
Right, got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So the other thing that was supposed to happen...
Because if you're Lou Diamond Phillips, you've lived your entire career, like, as not just the second fiddle, but like the 15th fiddle to a ramshackle group of brat packers, none of whom like really like that title and or are really good friends in real life, apart from Downey Jr. and Spader at the time. And it's like, so Diamond Phillips is just like, when's it going to be my time? And Walter Hill hands him Robin Tunney naked on a plate. I think that's when Phillips stepped up and decided to be the man we all knew he
think,
could be.
and look, I could be way off base here, but I think you might be confusing Lou Diamond Phillips with you.
You, Diamond Phillips.
Yeah, you are not Diamond Phillips. If Walter Hill sent you a script and said, do you want to be involved, you'll get to see Robin Tunney, you would of course say yes.
Yes.
That would be a deal breaker.
That would be, well, yeah.
But I do feel like you might be getting those two things confused. Do you want to know something else weird about the movie?
What's that?
In the original script, well, in fact, a scene that was shot, when Spader goes down to the planet, he comes across Psycho Bloke's actual son, like the guy that he's pretending to be,
Right.
who is a fetus, a talking fetus,
Oh.
like a talking embryo, going, watch out for my dad,
Yeah.
but only a fetus.
That's weird.
Yeah, right?
That's really weird.
So I'd quite like to see that film.
they even threw in a bit of like 2001 then, where they're like, well, we need to have a space baby. You're nothing without a space
And did you
baby.
notice the shit looked like the alien?
Yeah.
There's like, because Walter Hill produced Alien, all the Alien films. Yep. He even part wrote Alien 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
You did loads of reading on this movie. I think this movie finished and you were like, how did this get made? And you're like, wait a minute.
Oh, I was
I'll find
just
out.
interested about the whole Thomas Lee Walter Hill thing.
Right.
And also because I wanted to, because I thought I knew Walter Hill wrote part of Alien 3, and I thought it was because he was one of the producers, and I wanted to make sure that he produced all the Alien films, because I just thought that shot of the ship being an alien was interesting. And, you know, how much is he talking about Alien? And does he want to distance himself from it, or is he, like, embracing it, or what's going on? And that's why I thought initially that the cop Snatch of Destiny was a Snatch of Destiny, because I thought everybody knows the alien's head looks like a knob, and I thought maybe he was like trying to like play with that a little bit, especially making the ship, you know, thrusting through the cosmos or whatever, like something to do with that.
Choosing electricity
You know,
as it dimension jumped.
Right, yes, it did look a bit like jizz, didn't it, the electricity?
Well, not really, but no, but okay.
Well, it could be. I mean, it doesn't come out
It
the
kind
back.
of spewed out and then they
Yeah.
like ran along it. Like
I mean,
it kind
to be
of-
fair, one thing I liked about that, I mean, you can tell me and Teresa watched a lot of sci-fi. We were like, oh, that's interesting. A new way of, you know, travelling great distances. Because you see
and you can
so
also,
many of them.
you can also tell.
Literally foul space. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
We all love it when Sam Neill literally foul space.
But you can also tell Coppola did the editing, which I'm sorry is horrible.
Yeah.
But as they dimension jump, he's like, yeah, how about we put some like future snippet, like future echoes?
I quite
of
like
that.
that.
I didn't know because I'm like.
I like that.
So anyway, it's bloody bonkers. The whole thing seems to have been filmed through a blue filter. It's very blue. It's very close up. It's edited horribly. Half the time you don't know what's going on. But Spader, Angela Basset, they're pretty fun to watch, and you get to see Robert Tunney's boobs.
As a sci-fi film, like me and Teresa were genuinely quite enjoying
But it is
up until the end, up until he turned up.
It's
and
honky
started killing
cliche.
everyone.
It's shonky honky cliche MacGuffinville in a sort of nebulous of just throw what you can against the wall.
So okay, so a bit quickly know, what's the what in your opinion is like the what do we even call it? Like the
sleaze factor.
Sleaze factor. Sleaze what? What's
think,
the Spader's sleaziest moment?
Spader's sleaze in this movie has been inhibited by the.
I agree, but there is one moment, in my opinion, there is one moment where you get real, actual. You'd have to go back and watch it again, because I think you might have missed it. But he genuinely sleazes, and it's really weird given the context.
Is it when she's getting in the pod at the end? Is it when they're like pressed up against each other?
No.
Okay. No,
it's really weird. I highly recommend you go back and watch it just for this, if you've still got it. Which is, it's when they discover Robert Forster all fucked up in the pod.
Yeah.
There's a moment where Spader looks at Forster's like fuck it upness in the pod, and he's really pleased and intrigued and a little bit turned on by it.
Okay.
Yeah, watch it again. It's definitely
I
that.
thought the sleaziest moment was when, for no apparent reason, he showed up at Angela Bassett's sleeping quarters with like a bottle of, I happen to have this 20th century sherry.
That was nice. That was
charming. Nice. And then, all we've seen up until this point is him having his medical and her ballsing on about the fact that he was a drug addict. Then he shows up at the sleeping quarters with a bottle of 400-year-old shit.
Yeah, no, that was weak. It was a weak turnaround.
And then
she was all like, "Oh, you coward."
And then he's all like, "Ooh." Also, have you seen the trailer to this?
No.
The trailer to this makes it look like a knockabout rock comedy in space.
Really?
Like the trailer is completely bonkers, and it includes lots of lines that is not in the movie either. Because there's a bit where Angela Bassett in the trailer says to Spader something like, "If something is going to happen between us, here are the rules." Like, that's not in the final movie. Like in the final movie, it's literally a close-up on Spader's face. His eyes bear through into her very soul, his nostrils flare, and the next thing they're hover bonking in the zero gravity.
Hover bonking is a good description.
Hover bonking in the zero gravity.
I'm telling you, go back and watch Spader's expression when he's looking at the twisted flesh Cronenbergian nightmare that is Robert Forster having fused with a machine.
But we have 15 minutes.
Right.
I have 2 emails and some questions.
All right. Okay.
So let us do this thing right now.
All right.
And let's see if we can, shall we?
Yep.
All right. Okay about that. All right, and these are both from our good friend Andy Lunn.
Okay.
The first one is on Jack's back.
Okay.
But he wrote them back. But anyway, just caught up with the first Spader Sleaze episode. What a great introduction to the obscure side of the man's work. I don't remember much about Jack's back, which suggests that it was rather unforgettable. My letterboxd review of my own Sleaze of Spader season suggests that it was disappointing and dull without the powerhouse performance from Spader that I was expecting, having read the plot outline. My question to you is, do you watch The Blacklist? Spader is particularly sleazy in this, in part, I think, because all the ladies that he creeps around these days are considerably younger than him. It's worth watching nonetheless, as there are a raft of guest appearances from hilarious 80s people like Fisher Stevens, Tom Noonan, and Andrew Devoff, to name but 3. Andrew McCarthy even directed a few. I look forward to listening to the next step. Best regards, Andy. Well, to quickly answer that, Andy, we started season 1, but haven't finished it. It's one of those where I both thoroughly enjoy Spader, but I'm also at exactly the same time utterly annoyed by the rest of the show.
I watched,
that's my main problem. I think there's bits of it that are written very well, but I think that the ongoing plot and the ongoing what's going on thing is kind of a bit irritating to me.
My problem is, and I was a little harsh on it last time when I said that it was, shit, because it's not. It's just, I can't watch a show where people continually do things and make decisions that make absolutely no sense at all. It just drives me bonkers.
Yeah.
I don't mind watching it in a movie.
Yeah.
But in a TV show, if in a TV show they do something that makes absolutely no sense and drives me bonkers, then I'm going to have to watch people do things that make no sense and drive me bonkers every single week.
Right.
It's never going to change.
Right.
So balls to the Blacklist.
Okay. So that was Andy's first thing, and this is his email all about Dream Lover. Hilarious podcast, guys. You weren't big fans of Dream Lover, were you? I enjoyed its ridiculousness. It was great fun. I think perhaps you were taking it a little too seriously. I see you'd already answered my Blacklist question of my last email before I'd asked it, so perhaps forget that one. Had we?
Yes, because that's why I apologise for calling it shit.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't fair. Actually, I think it's quite a fun, bonkers show. It's just I can't watch things where people do things that make no makes sense.
Right. What I'd like to know this time is if it's worth me embarking on Boston Legal. Surely the combination of sleazy plus shatty is a slam dunk, but as it probably consists of hundreds of seasons, I wanted to check first. Looking forward to the next episode. My recommendation of Driftwood still stands as a must-see, but you can't go wrong with Spader, Cusack starring True Colors either. Cusack is the sleaze in that one, but it's a treat nonetheless.
Okay.
So we'll look up Driftwood and
True Colors, yeah.
True
okay.
Colours, okay, as a possible fourth and final Spader.
Yeah.
Okay, so Andy Lunn, is it worth embarking on Boston Legal?
I'll leave that one up to you.
I did, and I enjoyed it, but beware that along with the genius that is Spader and Shatner, the best thing about Boston Legal is that Spader and Shatner were not meant to be the big main parts that they ended up being, but because of their chemistry and because of their scenes and because of what people loved about them and their characters, they became the show. So by the last 2 seasons, it's like all them. The one thing that I would say, though, is that because it's also written by the guy who wrote Ally McBeal, it occasionally descends into irritating and punchable whimsy. There's also that moment where, because Shatner and Spader are off the rails every episode, you have to have Rene Auberjonois show up and be like, now what's he done? And that all gets a bit repetitive and awful as well. Because
he's great. He's in Deep Space Nine.
He is great, but I don't need his big wrinkly fizzog showing up every time Shatner. I'm like,
that's why you might enjoy Deep Space Nine, because they like computer.
Yeah, I know, right. So yeah, it is worth watching, but bear in mind that it is more sitcom than drama. Although Spader is successfully sleazy in it,
cool.
And there is plenty to enjoy. It's also like, if you want liberal grandstanding, this is your show. Cool. Like, Spader is a token Republican, but he's a token Republican in a way that we could go, ha ha, isn't it funny he has a gun, you know?
Yeah.
So, or he hates, abortion. Like, it's, and the cursory examination it does to, like, the left and right arguments, it's like liberal erections all over the place. So, bear that in mind, Andy. But thanks ever so much for your excellent
just quickly on that we took Dream Lover too seriously. We didn't take Dream Lover too seriously, but I do take having 2 hours of my life ripped away from me by idiotically bad filmmaking. I take that very seriously, because it's my life, and it's gone now because of that man who made that film.
Right,
and I got nothing from it.
No, it was bonkers. It was awful. And it wasn't even joyously bonkers. So let's quickly skip over to Facebook, where I believe this is going to become a quick fire round.
Okay.
Because we have a lot of questions and not a lot of time. We can, of course, do some of the questions tomorrow night, so we shouldn't necessarily do all of them today. Okay, so Spencer Seams, I love that name, Spencer, but Spencer Seams says James Spader's best film is Tough Turf. Now, there's a lot of Tough Turf love out there on the internet, because it was sort of one of those undiscovered Brat Pack Spader Downey Jr. movies that kind of cropped up in a lot of movie people's lists when Age of Ultron was announced and Spader being Ultron. And I have to say, I'd already seen it, but I went back and watched it again. It's good, but it's by far not his best film in any way at all. Because what you expect to be a Spader and Downey Jr. versus the bullies in a grungy high school, which sounds all right, if not a little wanky, but I mean, it would at least be one thing. It is that, but in a fairly you didn't bother to choreograph any fight scenes, and Spader loses every fight right up until the very end, where he has to go mental, and even when he does go mental, it's not enjoyable. And Tough Turf is good, don't get me wrong. I'm not bad mouthing Tough Turf for all the Tough Turf lovers out there, but it's not. There's a reason why it didn't escape the 80s in the same way that Pretty in Pink and even Weird Science did.
Fair enough.
That's my answer to that one. Andrew Buckley said he had wonderful hair in the 90s, which he did. We're going to answer all of Ed Quillen's questions tomorrow, because Ed Quillen sent a whole bunch, and we will do those tomorrow. I'm just trying to see if there are any more from any more. I don't think so.
We can answer them. We've got 5 minutes. We can answer them now.
We got 5 minutes, have we?
Yeah. We can do some now and some tomorrow.
Okay, so has James Spader ever played a good guy in a movie? I can't remember.
Stargate.
That's your Spader. And I sort of said he's two good guys in Jack's back. I mean, he's a hero and an anti-hero, but...
Yeah, good point.
So I think he has. And he's not like a bad guy in...
He's a good guy in Supernova too. He's definitely the hero.
Yeah. But I always think of him as an ambiguous guy, because he could do bad things, but he could do good things.
Yeah.
Right. What is James Spader's most obscure movie role, and has he ever been in a truly bad and unwatchable movie, in your opinion?
Dream Lover.
Although we both watched it, so it's not
but we had to. If I didn't have to watch this podcast, it would have been off in 5 minutes.
I don't know because I haven't seen all of Spader's movies, but seeing as if you Amazon James Spader, look up James Spader, there seems to be a raft of like utterly mad straight-to-video ones. I would imagine that yes, he has made a terrible movie, and it's probably one of those.
He has made a terrible movie, and we watched it. It's called Dream Lover.
No, there's worse movies out there with Spader in than Dream Lover.
I will never ever see it.
Okay.
I don't know what his most obscure role is, though.
Okay. Ed Quillen asks, what is James Spader's sleaziest role, in your opinion? It's got to be Crash or Secretary.
Secretary, I would think, right? I mean, in terms of like pure... he made a film that was all and completely about sleaze.
Yeah.
Crash is almost as much about...
car accidents and weird...
No, like sexual compulsion and...
Right.
Kind of, I guess, maybe what Walter Hill was going for in a weird way, that like marriage of like humanity and machine, how's that going to work?
Right.
What's that going to mean for our future? But Secretary is just pure out and out like sleaze, and how some people need the sleaze to breathe. That's what that film's about.
That's good. Last question from Ed Quillen then. James Spader was a werewolf, a bully, kiss-ass employee in a department store, the voice of a villain in a superhero movie, and he played a criminal mastermind on a popular TV show. Wait, what was my question? Oh yeah. Are there any other actors out there who had the kind of resume, and can you guess the films to the characters I mentioned? Okay, so a bully, Pretty in Pink, I presume.
Yeah.
And also Less Than Zero. Kiss-ass employee in a department store is Mannequin. The voice of a villain in a superhero movie is Ultron. And he played a criminal mastermind on a popular TV show is The Blacklist. In terms of, has anyone else had that kind of resume? Sure. I mean, there's lots of, maybe not of Spader's stature, but there's been lots of character actors that have played weird and wonderful roles. William Sadler, for example, who we've had on the show, has played a whole host of mad roles.
Yeah, he's been the president and Death.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, and he was the bad guy.
He's the president in the Marvel Universe, and he's played Death.
And he was the bad guy in Die Hard 2.
And he's the bad guy in Die Hard 2. And he was in the Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah. And in The Mist.
So yeah, Sadler, good answer.
Sadler, I would go with. Sadler's had a pretty weird and wonderful diverse...
No, go, good call on Sadler.
But yeah, no, lots of sort of... I think Spader, what's interesting is Spader said in interviews recently is that he always wanted to be a character actor, but was considered as a young man like too pretty to be a character actor, so they kind of foisted either supporting and non-starring roles on him. And he always wanted to play like weird, bonkers things. It's why he's in movies like The New Kids and Tough Turf and, what's the one we just watched? A Supernova and Jack's Back and stuff like that, right? That's why he's in those movies, because he wants to do like weird and fucking wonderful roles. It's just he didn't pick many wonderful ones, plenty of weird ones.
Yeah, we're definitely mining the weird at the moment.
And I quite like it. We've done a.
I'm glad I've seen them all except Dream Lover.
Yeah, we've done a quote-unquote erotic thriller, psychological thriller movie. We've done a sci-fi movie, and we've done a serial killer twins movie.
Yeah, so if we move away from... so let's talk about... He really liked Driftwood. Like, he talked about Driftwood last time. So,
and he did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
About, like, a really, really good one. And let's look into that. That one, what was the other one? Driftwood and something else.
Oh, I don't know.
But we'll look into those.
All right, sir.
It'll also depend on what we can get hold of on Amazon, right?
Yes, it will.
What we can rent.
Yeah, so what we can get hold of anywhere, really. But thank you, sir. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Enjoyed that. That will go out tonight.
This one felt more like... Last time, I think we had quite a lot of fun about how bad Dream Lover was. And this one felt like trying to come to terms with what the fuck this movie was.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to. I would have liked this to have been a less rushed, more longer show, just because I felt like when I was watching Supernova, that in the first 10 minutes I was like, oh, it's going to be this kind of movie. Oh, no, wait, it's going to be this kind of movie. No, it's going to be this. Like, because the first 10 minutes is full of all the sci-fi cliches imaginable. And it's sort of unravelable.
Yeah. But I think once you find out that the director's taken his name off the movie,
that was all fascinating. I knew none of that.
Right, but when you realise that, you realise, oh, there's nothing to piece together here.
Right.
You know, there's no unifying vision.
Right.
There's not even any sense of
it's not even
winging it. You know, to get to some destination. It's just something that's been cobbled together, and that's kind of what.
Well, Jimbo, James, Jimbles, Jim Bob, and. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me, man.
In the After Movie Diner, and we'll be back again next week with the last of our Sleazy Spader Springtime.
Cool.
I think 4 weeks is a good spring.
Yeah, that's a good springtime. Spring. Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll be back to like weird horror movies.
We'll go back to we'll try and get back to cinema. That's what I'd like to do. That'd be cool.
Yes. Did you hear? Okay, anyway, I'm going to stop there. So don't forget, you can contact the After Movie Diner at aftermoviediner@gmail.com or on 347-669-0053 or go over to www.speakpipe.com/aftermoviediner. Either that or hit us up on our Facebook page or on our Facebook group. Both can be found on Facebook searching After Movie Diner or find me on Twitter at After Movie Diner. You can also support the diner in numerous ways. You can go over to patreon.com, that's patreon.com/After Movie Diner and sponsor the show. Likewise, you can go over to miscplumbingfixtures.bandcamp.com and buy any of our albums or listen to Miscellaneous Plumbing Fixtures on Spotify, which costs you nothing but makes me 0.05 cents every time you listen to a song all the way through. So why don't you get with some Miscellaneous Plumbing Fixtures music and go listen to it on Spotify. And if you want to know exactly what kind of music that is, if this is the first time you're listening to the show, well, most people will know that I always end the show with a song. And today is no different. Coming up now is actually a song from an album that I'm currently working on. And this album is a little different than previous albums, which were more fully produced. This album is just going to kind of be me on the ukulele, recorded on my phone. And when I have an idea, I'm just going to quickly do a track and see how that kind of all fits together. Maybe I'll disband that idea and just look at these as sort of demo versions and then sort of overproduce them. But I quite like these at the moment, just as they are, me and the ukulele. So hopefully you guys will too. And if you do, or if you just like the podcast, don't forget, support us on Patreon, Bandcamp, or Spotify. Thanks so much. Have a good week. Mr. Marionette, the trumpet playing ghost, a large trouser wearing colonel has abandoned his post. Fitness hipsters on the run, and the weather can't decide. Alan, get your gun, let the smiling be your guide. Costumes on the downtown 6 train. There's one in every pack that is driving you insane. We smoked a bag of peanuts and we fired off a letter. You can break almost every desk, nothing's getting any better. Commuter, do you care that your day is a number? Do you fight off the decay? Is there more for you to say? White face suits, so do you flame. Cauliflowery priest, oh, nothing's left to sell. Barking back at bankers, this whole street has gone to hell. And in the corridors of biscuits, the music teachers strike. Wafts of stale memories, protesters at the mic.